gynecologist, I get to go in the stat line, bypassing all the mere mortals with their non-cancer blood tests. Silver linings, right? We waited a few minutes, and the nurse escorted us back to Dr. Feinstein, a pleasant-looking woman in her late 30s, with wire-rimmed glasses and shoulder-length brown hair. She was sitting at her desk, and right away I noticed the open, compassionate expression on her face. My films were already up on the light box, situated on the wall behind her. "Hi, I'm Dr. Feinstein. I understand you have a history of breast cancer?" "Yes, I was diagnosed in December of 1999. "You had a lumpectomy?" "Yes, and radiation." We chatted like that for a minute or two, catching her up on my history. To let her know I was up on things and that I wouldn't have a meltdown in front of her, I said, "I saw the microcalcifications. I had them the first time." She nodded. I saw concern in her eyes. I knew, and she knew, and I knew she knew. It had returned. Her steady, reassuring gaze told me, "I'm going to take care of this for you." And she offered, "If you want, I can do a biopsy right now." I took a breath and looked over at Steve. He nodded. So just like that, in the space of a little over an hour since my arrival at Kaiser, I was preparing myself to have a breast biopsy. Life was starting to feel a bit more real than it had 3 hours before. My biopsy, 2012. There is no hope unmingled with fear, and no fear unmingled with hope. Baruch Spinoza. "We're going to do a stereotactic biopsy procedure today," Dr. Feinstein explained. The procedure room was very high-tech. I lay down on an exam table which had a cutout for my breast, which was compressed, with the images showing up on a display monitor, enabling Dr. Feinstein and her technician assistant to zero in on the location of the microcalcifications. After first numbing my breast, she then inserted the needle and collected the tissue sample from the area. I didn't feel much, other than tugging, as the doctor withdrew the samples. When the procedure was over, Dr. Feinstein and her technician pressed towels against my breast to stop the bleeding, a side effect of the procedure, but it didn't hurt. "You should hear by Monday," Dr. Feinstein said. "I don't think there's any way the pathology will be done tomorrow." It was Thursday. I wanted the results immediately, but of course things don't work that way. This was important stuff, medical stuff. These things take time. We shook hands, and I felt glad to have her as my radiologist for the day. She was much more pleasant than the doctor I'd met 2 years prior when I'd had a biopsy of righty, my non-cancer breast. He wasn't as optimistic and seemed convinced I would be dropping dead soon. I didn't. Leaving the radiology department, I had 2 choices. I could A, worry nonstop for at least 3 days, waiting to hear the results, or B, I could realize that I had no control over the situation and it was out of my hands. Worrying would net me exactly nothing. What do you think I chose? Of course I chose A. And not to say that I worried the whole time. Sometimes I chose the optimistic route. Or I'd say to myself, you have this whole weekend to think of yourself as normal. Nothing is wrong with you until you hear otherwise. This thought would give me momentary comfort until the demons of doubt entered my head, telling me, "Don't be ridiculous. Of course it's back, silly. You saw the microcalcifications, didn't you? Of course it's cancer." My inner self can be a real jerk sometimes. But then I thought, if I prepare myself mentally, at least that's half the battle. I won't be caught off guard. I won't be an emotional mess. Yeah, right. Back to the beginning of my story. December 1999. Fear is a dark room where negatives develop. Osman Asif. When I was 34 years old in November of 1999, a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, I felt a lump in my left breast. I'd never been the type to be zealous about my monthly breast self-exams. They were something I did when I thought about it. Maybe an occasional quick, cursory check in the shower every now and then, here and there. What is that? Do I feel something?